Good morning, everyone. My name is Chuck Petrucia, and I'm the president of the CAA, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. Dana Scroggins, could you come up for us this morning and sing us the national anthem? Morning, Dana. Yep, come on up here. Good
morning. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Wait, if you could remain standing, please. Our Sergeant of Arms, Brian, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Dana. That was beautiful. That's a good remembrance that we're all Americans. If we could, I'd like to start with introductions on the stage. Tim, could you start for me?
Tim Westphal with Baylon,
Wait.
California Vice President for CAA.
It's on now, Tim.
Mike Matson Alarm, Northern Vice President of the CAA.
Kathy Rampel, American Security Integrators and past president for the California Alarm Association.
Brian Boglin, Comcast Xfinity Home, Sergeant at Arms, Chair of the Technology Committee.
Les Gold, Mitchell Silverberg, and Nubb, Counsel to the Association.
Dave Michael, Valley Alarm, Treasurer.
Charles Schwager, Barkin, Perrin, Schwager, and Dolan, CPA to the industry.
Ron Gallipo, Smart Tech Security Secretary.
Thank you very much. Along with our local chapter presidents, make up your board of directors. I'd like to offer a round of applause for them right now. If you could just all, instead of going around the room and introducing each person, if you could just stand up, take a minute, maybe two, and introduce yourself to the person around your table or the person at the table next to you. We'll call that introductions. All right, thank you, everyone. Leave it to a bunch of alarm folks to get the conversation going really quick. I can tell that. Les, if you could, please help us with our antitrust statement this morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's always special to be here in San Francisco. We have another wonderful day, super special because we have the opportunity to elect our new officers who will be the leaders of the alarm industry, not only here in California, but throughout the country and the world. But we meet here so that we can exchange ideas and find out what's going on amongst ourselves, provided, of course, we don't do anything which is illegal, which would be considered anti-competitive, and we don't discuss any rates or items which Justice Department would feel would not be appropriate, and we do not discriminate in the sense that we do not eliminate any folks who should be a member and who should attend our meetings from attending our meetings. Having said that, have a great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Les. As always, Les produces comment for us all, and it's just a great counsel to the Alarm Association. So thank you very much, Les. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, offered by Ron, our secretary. We have a first by Mike Mattson, a second by Kathy Rimple. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. And again, welcome to San Francisco. This is the California Alarm Association's premier event for a fundraiser, but it's also the buzz of California alarm companies as I look around the room and see all the professionals. It's 21 years ago this month that the CAA was started in this hotel, and it's an honor. Last year we celebrated our 20th anniversary of that event, but the ball keeps moving forward. We're in a beautiful facility. We have inked a deal with the Fairmont Hotel for an additional 3 years at the room rates that you're experiencing today, so we're really excited for that. We're also excited to have media and CEOs from around the nation to come and speak at this event, the West Coast premier event from my perspective, to give us ideas in a time of unprecedented change in our industry. So I just want to take a minute and say welcome to everyone here, a special welcome to our vendors and our sponsors for putting this together. It's on your back that we produced this event, and we couldn't do that without you. So I'm sure you'll get other recognitions throughout this whole event for the yesterday, today, and in the morning, but I just want a round of applause right now for our sponsors. Thank you very much. We have a spirited agenda this morning, so I want to work right through it and answer any questions, but get the work of the industry done today. So Dave Michael, our treasurer, could you please give us our treasurer's report and our business report? Thanks, Dave.
Good morning. I will try to keep this very, very brief. We're reporting on the results of the third quarter of this year through September 30th. Our revenue was about a little over $5,000 above budget. Our expenses were about a little over $9,000 below budget. We worked very hard to control costs as we had some financial difficulties last year and cut into our reserves pretty heavily. The only noteworthy item in the expense category, our other expenses and contingencies, was about $12,000 above budget. That primarily was the result of writing off some non-collectible dues. We did some cleanup of our accounts receivable, which is still somewhat ongoing. Bottom line, we showed a net profit through the third quarter of $11,000, which is about almost $15,000 above budget. We have cash on hand as of September 30th was a little over $68,000, which was up significantly from about $34,000 at the end of the second quarter. A lot of that is advance payments for this event, but still a positive trend. In our liabilities, nothing really noteworthy in the liabilities category. Bottom line, we've cut expenses. We're showing a little bit of a profit. We're trying to replenish our reserves that we cut into last year. Are there any questions about that? No questions. Moving forward, PAC fund balance is a little over $21,000. The PAC fund is still pretty healthy. Scholarship fund is at about $58,000. We cut into it about $10,000 last year funding the scholarship program, which is a little more than we would like to cut into it. But we'd like to thank the people at ISC who have stepped up and are donating $5,000 a year over the next 3 years to the scholarship fund. So Mary Beth, where's Mary Beth? I thought I saw her. Thank you, Mary Beth. Yeah. Last item, the budget for 2019. The Budget Committee met via teleconference a couple of times over the last month. Chuck Petrucia, Tim Westfall, Mike Mattson, myself, past presidents Bob Michael, Kathy Rempel, and then our accountants Charles Schwager and Allison Patty. We put together a balanced budget as we always do. One of the things that came out of that became fairly obvious that our dues needed adjustment. We haven't had a dues increase since 2008. So the Budget Committee recommended to the board, and the board has in turn recommended to the general membership to increase the state and local dues by approximately 10%. It varies a little bit, so we don't have, and 23 cents, so we have nice round numbers. So I believe, Chuck, we need a motion second and vote on the recommended dues increase.
Thank you very much, Dave, for that report. And just to reiterate what Dave has said is, as an organization, it's been 2008 since we have raised our dues. So it's plenty of time. And what that would mean to our average member is less than $100 per year in raise. So I am asking now, or I'm looking for a motion to approve an approximate 10% dues increase for the local and state dues. Thank you, Morgan Hertel. Looking for a second. Thank you, Ron Lander. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Seeing none, thank you very much for that vote of confidence. It is a move in the right direction. As a follow-up, I would like to entertain a motion that we accept the 2019 budget as stated, which includes the 10% increase. And in that budget, we are proposing a $10,000 restoring or restoration of our reserve funds. So I would entertain a motion to accept the 2019 proposed budget. Thank you very much, Mark Sepulveda. A second by Rich Whitlock. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, I want to say thank you very much for that vote of confidence. Your Finance Committee and your Executive Committee and your board has worked hard to maintain the level of a balanced budget, and now our goal is in the coming years to rebuild our reserves. So thank you very much, Dave. Michael? Or is there anything else left? A business report?
Very briefly. Very brief business report. As I mentioned earlier, we're doing some cleanup of our accounts receivable. That's a little bit ongoing. The bulk of that's already done, but it will continue into the first quarter. And that pretty much concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dave. Dave does a great job for the CAA day in and day out, watching cash flow, producing the financials, and now working diligently on the budget. Along with Charles, his office, I think we're having Dave smile again as we move into 2019 with this budget. Next on the agenda, I'd like to invite to the podium Les Gold for the legal report. Morning again, Les.
Good morning again. First of all, I would like to say that one of our associates who has been working with our firm for a number of years now and has become, there was a time when people used to ask me all the questions that come about regarding alarm contracts, and Suyan An, who's sitting here, Suyan has kind of taken over that, and now whenever anyone asks me, I refer them over to Suyan because she's been working on licensing and alarm contracts, not only in California, but all over the country now for a number of years. So, Jan, thank you for showing up this morning. Several things have occurred where we're getting inquiries about. And one, of course, is licensing. And for those of you who were here yesterday and heard Chief Wu, I think he's answered the questions. But if you haven't shown up, if you didn't show up yesterday, you didn't hear them, I'll just mention two items which we get calls on an ongoing basis, and that is for companies who are out of the state of California who are doing third-party monitoring. Do they have to be licensed in California? And the probability is the answer is yes. The second one is with reference to the sale on DIY, and I have I believe I read it at the last meeting also, but Laura Alarcon sent me a letter back in August, and it says, in regard to your question, any business carrying out any of the activities specified in BPC 7590.2 would be required to hold an alarm company license with the exception of those entities identified in, etc. By and large, what they're saying is if you're selling DIY over the counter, the probability is you do not need a license. On the other hand, if you agree to do anything else which is included in the code, and that would be installing, servicing, monitoring, then you need a license. The question comes up is if you agree to do the servicing or the monitoring, but you're not actually going to do it, but you're going to license it out to a licensed company, then do you have to be licensed? The answer is once you agree in your contract to provide it, even though you're not going to do it, and you sub it out, you still need a license. So if you're going to include it in the contract, you better be licensed or the Bureau is going to come out after you. Those are the two questions which really have come up on an ongoing basis, at least that we've been requested to deal with. The second item that we're getting questions on is the Dynamax case, which, we had someone here at our last meeting who discussed it, but by and large, it becomes a question of whether or not you're a subcontractor or an employee. Up until this year, the Supreme Court's ruling, there was a list of criteria, and there was anywhere between 12 and 20 to determine whether or not the party is or is not an employee. The Dynamax case basically said there's an ABC test, and there are three questions as to whether or not the party is an employee. Now, many of our companies do a lot of subcontracting, and they take the position that they're dealing with subcontractors, but for all intents and purposes, and I'm just going to read very, very briefly the three items which are involved, the ABCs. The ABC test provides that a worker is properly classified as an independent contractor if the hiring entity can establish that A, the worker is free from the control and direction of the hiring entity in connection with the performance of the work, both as provided in the underlying contract and in fact. B, the worker performs work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business, and C, the worker is customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as the work performed for the hiring entity. Those are the three tests, but by and large, if you're exercising control in terms of the hours that they have to work, when they have to show up, what they have to wear, and so on, the probability is it's going to be an employee and not an independent contractor. The danger and the risk, of course, is if the feds come in or if the state comes in and says you're dealing with this person as an independent contractor, but there's really an employee, then, of course, they have the right to assess you and hit you for the withholding that you should have taken on this party. And of course, that plus the penalties can be very, very significant. So it's something that we tell our clients, be very, very careful and make sure that if the party is really an employee, that you take care of the withholding. The next item is the California Consumer Privacy Act. This is an act where you have to protect the information that you receive. And in our industry, you're going to get information which is really have to be included within privacy. The act does not come into effect until January of 2020. They assume there are going to be many modifications. We were thinking about having someone who was very, very familiar with the act address us. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it at this meeting, but hopefully we'll be able to do it at our spring meeting in Palm Springs. But again, the penalties in this case are going to be very, very severe if they're not complied with. And so it's something that I think it's very, very important for us to be aware of. Another item that came up, we brought it up at the board meeting yesterday, and I don't know if Trent is here. I think Trent is going to at least look into it. But effectively, it's a situation where, and I'm going to read it, it says, under SB 1402, customers who utilize trucking companies to deliver goods from California's ports may be held jointly and severally liable for certain labor code violations committed by those trucking companies. And without going into it further, effectively, if the trucking company you use to really transport the goods that you're dealing with are in violation of any of these labor codes, then you can be held responsible for it. In any event, those are the issues that really have come up that we've been involved in over the past, since our last meeting. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to take them. If not, Mr. Chairman, that concludes our report. No questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Les. Next item on the agenda, Tim Westphal for the legislative report. Morning, Tim.
Well, we're really fortunate to have a great ledge team that works on activity in Sacramento. Shane Clary, Ron Lenz, Brian Boglin, and Holly Borgman from ADT all work really hard reviewing the ledge that goes on in Sacramento and making sure harmful legislation doesn't come to our industry. But we also get to work really closely with Trent Smith, who we've been working with his firm for many, many years, and I'd like to turn it over to him to give the details of the report.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, everyone. So very quickly, I'd just like to give a little review of a few bills from last year that were important to the industry and just give you a little sneak peek into the legislature starting next year. So last year we sponsored, the California Alarm Association sponsored SB 904. This is the third bill that we've had to do to renew the ability for alarm companies to be organized as limited liability companies. So that passed, and now that law has been extended to 2024. Another two bills that were very interesting for the alarm industry and several others, AB 1906 and SB 327, deal with interconnected devices. So anything that can be hooked up to the internet. The law now states that any of those items have to be manufactured to have some sort of a reasonable mechanism to prevent them from being hacked or to provide security. So those of you who work for manufacturers here, this is something you're going to have to deal with. It does have a 1-year delay before it goes into effect, but you have to prove that you've taken some reasonable steps so that your equipment can't be hacked into. During the debate, security cameras were one of the main items that were highlighted, because if you had a security camera in someone's house and someone was able to tap into it and spy on them, That was one of the big concerns. The bill was quite controversial, but ultimately the California Chamber of Commerce ended up supporting the bill, and it had a lot of momentum and support. So that's something you as manufacturers need to be aware of here. The other bill that was very significant to the industry, AB 2138. So this legislation prohibits a licensing agency or department or bureau in California from denying a license to anyone that has a serious felony older than 7 years. So the departments and agencies do have some discretion to determine whether that particular felony is relevant to the service that they're going to be licensed for. But ultimately, if the felony is over 7 years old, they cannot prohibit someone from getting a license. As you can imagine, this is a great concern for the alarm industry and other industries regulated by the Bureau of Security and Investigative Services. I was telling the story, I had 2 alarm technicians in my house about 6 weeks ago. I let them in at 9, I came back at 5 o'clock, and they were there all day by themselves. And so it's hard to imagine, even if someone had committed a burglary crime 10 years ago, that that's the type of person I would want in my house. So we recently met with the Bureau to determine how they were going to interpret this law, and basically how I've explained it is how they are going to interpret it. So we are going to make some efforts to go back to the authors of the bill and to see if they agree that it is of some concern to have someone with a serious crime alone in your house installing an alarm, or as a locksmith or some other industry that's regulated by the Bureau. It's going to be an uphill battle, and I'll explain why. Most of you realize there was an election, at least I hope you do, and it was pretty historic for California. It was probably historic in a lot of places, but California, it was beyond most expectations. So the state assembly, which is 80 members, now has a Democratic majority of 60 to 20. This is the largest Democratic majority in the state assembly since 1883. Just so you put it into context, you need 54 votes to pass a tax or a constitutional amendment. So the Democrats have a lot of cushion to be able to do whatever they want. To make things even more interesting, one of the Republicans who won by 500 votes just announced 3 days ago that he had won. It got very close, and then he quickly announced that he's going to change parties and become a Democrat. So the Republicans lose one. Another Republican has announced he's going to redeclare as an independent, so Republicans lose another one. In the Senate, the majority, 40 seats, 29 Democrats, 11 Republicans. Same thing happened on the congressional level. It's 46 to 7. And of course, we all know that the constitutional officers from the governor on down are Democrats, led by Mayor-elect Gavin Newsom. I don't know if any of you knew this, but Mayor-elect Gavin Newsom was in the building last night. He had a fundraiser in the Crown Room where we had our opening night reception, because I walked out and saw a lot of my colleagues in the lobby last night and went, "What are you guys doing here?" So just again, to give you an idea, the first day of session, they were all sworn in on Monday. About 140 bills were introduced. And someone has already added up, if you took the cost to the state of just those 120 bills, they equal more than $100 billion in cost to the state. And we still have there'll be about at least 2,000 bills introduced by the deadline. So even Gavin Newsom has said, hold on, we're not going to be able to do everything. We're not going to be able to, meet everyone's demands and wishes, but gives you a little concern. What we probably will need to be looking out for in the alarm industry is probably not anything specific to the alarm industry, but in general business, it's got to be a concern. Organized labor will be pushing quite a few bills, and that could impact some of your workforce and labor practices, could impact your apprenticeship program. You already heard Les talk about the Dynamex case. There's already a bill introduced to put that court case law into statute. Privacy will continue to be a big issue, so make sure you are investing well in your cybersecurity systems for your databases and your customer lists, because that is still a big issue and will be in the upcoming year. So with that good news, I will conclude. Happy to take any questions or move on. Yeah, boo me, right.
Thanks, Trent. We're very fortunate to get to work with Trent, so thank you. And then for those of you that were at lunch yesterday, we got to meet Chief Darrell Wu, the new BSIS chief. We've already been up to Sacramento with the Ledge Committee once and met with him. He's a very reasonable person, and we look forward to working with him. We're already working on some stuff, so I think that's going to be a great transition. And Laura Alarcon, I believe, will come to lunch today, so if you see her, thank her for her term. We had a great relationship with her, and then we look forward to working with Chief Wu moving forward. And that concludes the Ledge report. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And I can attest by the report alone, there's value in your PAC fund contributions. So one of the busiest committees we have at the CAA, and none more important to the evolution of our industry than that. So thank you very much, Tim. Thank you, Trent. Good news or bad, it's still the news of today. And there is reason, like I just said, that we pay our PAC fund. All right, next on the agenda, we have the Public Safety Liaison, Mark Simpson. Good morning, Mark. Larry St. John, you're up next.
Good morning, everyone. Since our last meeting, we've had several public safety agencies appear on the radar, either revising or introducing new alarm ordinances. We don't really have time to get into the specific details of each one, but the quick list is Huntington Beach, Oxnard, San Ramon, Santa Barbara County, Riverside County, and Antioch. Many of those are the standard alarm permits and escalating fees for false alarms, but 3 of them were also wanting to add verified response, and that was for Santa Barbara County, Riverside, and Antioch. So we're very fortunate to have the team from SEAC working on our behalf to meet with these officials. The reason that Steve Kiefer with SEAC is not at this convention is because the only time he could meet with Santa Barbara County was yesterday. And from what I understand, it was a very successful meeting, and they've been able to put the verified response piece aside. So again, I can't say enough about what SEAC does on our behalf, and I would like to ask Stan Martin to come up and give us a little more information on SEAC.
Well, good morning. Thanks, Mark. We're pleased with the progress we've made, particularly in California. Everywhere that Steve has gone in, particularly the last several months, we've been able to turn chiefs and departments from thinking about non-response, which is what verified response is, to a more plausible, balanced ordinance, which is good for the community, good for dealers. And it doesn't stop in California. Nationally, we've made great strides with the IECP, the national sheriffs, major county sheriffs, and major city chiefs. For the first time ever this year, we've taken the model ordinance that we promote, which is good for your business, and works well in any city that's ever adopted the model ordinance, and there's thousands now, have never gone to non-response or some punitive type action. We actually got National Sheriff Association and the ICP, International Association of Chiefs of Police, to pass resolutions at the top level, the membership level, in their main meeting, supporting that model ordinance across the country. That's in addition to all the state chiefs associations support this. So what I'm saying to you is that SEAC is your advocate. Every single person in here benefits from what we do every day. There is no one else in front of law enforcement, and there's never been a greater moment in time where you need what we do every day. With all the DIY stuff, law enforcement's beginning to see a lot of activity into their 911 centers. They need to understand, and I think they do understand, we've got to keep it in front of them, that professionally monitored, installed and monitored systems are critical to the safety of the community, and we're not going to be generating all the problems that they're going to see through other types of systems. I'm pleased with the work that our group is doing. I won't take credit myself. It's the chiefs, retired chiefs that we have out there every day in front of other chiefs making these changes and decisions. What I am asking you to do today is to take action. Every year I talk a little bit about contributions, but I want to remind you, we don't sell any products. No services. Everything we do is free to law enforcement. When there's a problem in, whether it's Riverside or Santa Rosa, we fly Steve Kiefer in, or he drives in if it's up Northern California. We bear that expense. So I'm saying that every dealer, every service provider, every manufacturer that works through the food chain, everyone is affected by what we do every day. And again, there is no one else out there that is your advocate in front of law enforcement. I put several of these cards out on most every table. I'm asking everybody to, first of all, let me say thank you to those that already contribute. There's a good group of you in here that do an outstanding job, and I thank you for that. I thank California Alarm Association, the chapters that support, but I'm asking individual companies that have not, or if for some reason you stopped, either fill out this card, give it back to me, or see me with your credit card. I'll process it on the spot. But we need your support. We continue to have, even though we're a lean, mean organization, the last 2 years, revenue has not met the expenses, and we've had to take money out of our reserve. You don't need a big education in math to understand that cannot continue. So please, make an effort, small, large, of course, the more the better, but everybody, please do something. We're here to serve you. If you have a problem with law enforcement, if you need advice, you want some direction, how to meet with your chief, whatever it is, feel free to call us, contact me. Information's on here. We're here to serve you, and I thank you, and thank California Alarm Association for the hospitality they always extend. And Chuck, what can I say? You guys are the best. I love coming out to California anyway, so thank you very much, and thank you all.
That concludes our report.
Thank you for that report, Mark. Thank you so much, too. Stan has a challenge, right? I think, is it 15,000? 1,500. And to reiterate, you have a credit card processing on your phone, Stan? Wait, Stan, you got a credit card processor on your phone, is that it? I do. Here you go, let's see if it works. Let's see if it works.
Or we can do NPC, chip reader, is that at all? 10,000 on it?
No, that, That was, talking to my brother Rick, that's 1,000, but I challenge everyone else in this room. Let's hit that 15 grand and get Kurt to bleed just a little bit. Thank you so much, Kurt, for that. You know, it's not only around our state, it's around our nation. These rogue ordinances are popping up left and right. He mentioned Santa Rosa, a region that we serve. They've gone without an ordinance forever. The Sonoma County, the same. In the past month, was it, Mark? We've had 2 verified response. In the past year, we fought 1 or possibly 2 non-responses. So the work Stan and his crew, especially Steve Kiefer in California, does for our industry is invaluable. So make sure that you see the value in the work that they do and pass that credit card over and see if we can blow up his credit card processor this morning. Thanks again, Stan. Thanks again, Mark, for a great report. Next, membership, Larry St. John. Good morning, Larry.
Morning, everyone. Our membership committee report is brief, but it's important. It's the numbers, it's how we're doing, and we're heading in the right direction. So our new total for membership, we've got 64 associate members, and that is up net 2 for the year. And for regular members, we are now at 173. That is up net 8. So it's a very good year, and we're glad to see membership heading in the right direction. The membership committee's work primarily is about making resources available to support our local, regional chapter presidents and the leadership that's making a difference on a grassroots level. So the big thing, our big message is know that they're supported and they're getting the work done on a local level. That this is a great event for once a year. We have another great event in the summer, but there's work being done year-round supporting the dealers in your local community. So for those chapter presidents, we always want to extend a sincere thank you for the hard work they do in making the association function throughout the year, and that they're being supported with resources and programs to help bring attendance and participation in and keep things functioning 12 months out of the year. And so we just always want to say thank you for the hard work of those volunteers. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Next on the agenda is a technology industry trends report by our Sergeant of Arms, Brian Boglin.
Good morning, everyone. So the Technology Committee, this has been kind of a metamorphosis that the committee's gone through since Dave Hood left us. It's been a big vacuum, obviously, for those who knew Dave. The Technology Committee currently consists of the membership Sam Aviles, Don Smith, Matt Hoffman, Jay Levy, Derek Morrow, Stephen Olivia, and Robert Maru. And then obviously Chuck Petrucia is still an honorary member of the Technology Committee. So we set some goals for 2019 to give us more structure. What I do want to say is that we are still trying to cultivate new membership. As if anybody was here last year, they remember me saying that I want to kind of use this committee as the gateway into this kind of broader family that all of you come here and enjoy. One thing the ESA National has done, I was a part of the initial group. I know Kathy and Kirk and George and a bunch of others were part of the mentorship program. The mentorship program is great entry level for up and coming stars in your organizations. Locally, please reach out to me if you have anybody in your organizations that you want to start getting involved in the CAA at the committee level. We'd love to hear their subject matter expertise and start working them into developing some of the projects that we currently have and then we're going to parlay into 2019. So after this meeting, if anybody does have, maybe they're not here because senior leadership is here. But you know the up and coming future leaders. I'd love to help to get them more involved with the CAA and make them feel welcome and as warm of a welcome as I can. So in 2018, primarily driven by Sam Aviles, who's our rock star, he put together a foundational presentation report. We call it Trendologies. What this is going to do is it's going to basically be a living, breathing document. I did send the most current iteration to Jerry. I know that Mark Simpson or Ben Martinez, I think Sam actually came out and did a presentation for him, and Mark Simpson has also used the deck in its infancy. We are slowly starting to add changes to that. Like I said, that will be a living, breathing document, but since it does reside with Jerry's group, if anybody is here and interested in reviewing the deck or using it as a presentation for the chapter presidents, please reach out to myself or Jerry's office will have it. The technology committee did meet here. We are going to start doing meetings at the spring conference and the winter conference going forward as a committee. Also doing breakout sessions, primarily using the Trendologies report as the foundation and having a kind of a free-form interactive type of presentation versus a panel of presenters that speak their opinions. We want to have more of a back and forth. On that same topic, just to let everybody or warn everyone, we're going to be working with Jerry's team to put out Survey Monkeys to the membership. So we want to know what you guys want to hear. Obviously, we're in a bit of an echo chamber with our little group, so we want to know if something is out there that maybe I'm not specifically tied to, but the overall membership has an interest in it. We want to hear from you, so that way we can research it, develop content, and then present it at the next conference or convention. So with that, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. ESA, the CAA, or California Alarm Association, is very fortunate to have an overriding industry conglomerate of ESA as our parent. And ESA is led by Merlin Gilbreau, the executive director. Merlin's going to come to the stage and give us the ESA report. We'd also like to invite George up, DeMarco, who's the ESX chairman. Good morning, gentlemen.
Well, good morning, everyone. We truly appreciate the opportunity to be here and present some information, hopefully that you'll find helpful. But rather than stand here and say what I'm going to say, I'd like to play a quick video and then wrap up with just a few comments. So could we play the video, please? And the volume. Okay. Hey. I know. And we even rehearsed. Well, I know we're short on time, so let me give you the highlights. ESA members represent 70% of the market share in the United States. We have over 500,000 security professionals working for companies like yours throughout the United States. You ready? All right.
Let's try. At the Electronic Security Association lately, our membership base is pretty powerful. ESA members represent over 70% of the commercial and residential market. They are smaller, locally owned companies, but they are also the largest regional and national companies in the United States, serving retail, residential, schools, government, banks, and more. They employ more than 500,000 industry professionals and serve more than 34 million clients. We are ESA, and we are proud to represent and serve the installation, integration, and monitoring companies of the electronic security and life safety industry.
All right, good. So it really is about the power of membership within the organization, not only at the ESA level, but as Chuck mentioned, at the chapter levels. Together, we have 30 chapters throughout the United States and one in Puerto Rico. So we represent the vast majority of the industry, even though sometimes we think our numbers don't reflect it. The power of membership is truly there in this organization. So you should be proud to be a member of the organization. Hopefully you use that in sales pitches and in marketing material, because it is an organization that I like to think represents you well. A couple of things I want to touch on as it relates to benefits. So ESA is the industry leader when it comes to classroom and online training. And as such, I want to make sure you experience our online training. So today, and today only, a show special, if you give me your business card and write training on the back, I will make sure you get to take advantage of one of our online training courses free of charge. So consider that. It's an opportunity to test us out if you haven't already started using us, and I think you'll find it to be quite impressive. So please give me your business cards. Also, in Q1 of next year, because of our vast access to training, we have a test bank of over 600 questions. So we're actually going to utilize those questions to create an assessment exam that you can use internally within your company, or even in the interview process of trying to determine if a technician truly knows what he says he knows. But even for existing technicians, if you want to find out where they're weak in and where you can beef them up in other areas of integration, we'll be offering that in Q1. So be on the lookout for that. We're pretty excited. So that's our first and most used benefit. Our second most used benefit is Security America. The insurance program has now been around since 2003. We're consolidating the captive into the A-plus program so that it's one program backed by Lloyd's of London. That process will be complete the end of this year. And we have over 750 policyholders in the program throughout the United States. So it's done well. Folks are saving money using it. We encourage you to get a quote. Crystal Jacobs is here. The booth is set up. Please go by and see her. Lastly, events. I want to encourage everyone to consider one of the three following events that ESA will host this next year. The first is Leadership Summit. It takes place in Austin, Texas, January 28th through the 31st. Leadership Summit is a different type of industry event. It's an opportunity to meet one-on-one with not only sponsors and vendors that are present, but also your peers and colleagues throughout the country. You can set up appointments with each other, have coffee, conversation, and do some very intense networking. In addition, the education content is speakers from outside the industry. So we actually pay the speakers to come and participate, and they're from various aspects of business, and they bring a new perspective to the industry that hopefully you can take back to your companies and implement. The next one is ARIF. So we are repurposing ARIF. ARIF is the foundation. It's a 501c3 that ESA has owned since 1977, I think. Each year it hosts a golf tournament the day before ISC West. So April 9th, we'd appreciate everyone participating. I said refocus, so now ARIF's sole mission is to advance the Workforce Development Initiative, to help the industry find and retain quality talent that is so desperately needed for our member companies. We'll be doing this effort jointly with SIA, the Security Industry Association. We're real excited about it, so we hope you all grab your clubs and plan on playing in the tournament, because the proceeds are going to go to a very worthy cause. Lastly is ESX, and I'd like to invite George DeMarco to give you a brief description of that event. Thank you, folks.
Good morning. That was pretty sad. Let's try it again. Come on, good morning. That's better, okay. Hey, last year at Nashville, we got an NPS score of 54. by our attendees. And if you don't know what that is, I invite you next year to come out to ESX so you can learn about how to understand the customer journey with some metrics that would be important to better run your company and grow your company. So I'm going to show a video here, but next year we're going to Indianapolis. We're very excited about that, and it's going to be the 2nd through the 6th of June, and that's going to be on a Monday through Thursday. The last few years it's been Tuesday through Friday, so I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. But we're going to run a video. Ready? Okay, here we go. We're going to run a video. There's a lot of motion that happens right about now. We're getting there. We did practice this yesterday too. It is, right? There we go.
Are you ready to learn more, share more, and interact more? If you're a professional in the electronic security and life safety industry and passionate about what you do to keep people, places, and things safe, then you're ready for ESX. The Electronic Security Expo is not your typical show. Here, collaborations are sparked, industry friendships are born, and partnerships are launched.
It's awesome. There's such a wide variety of things that you can learn, such a wide variety of people that you can meet. It's definitely a great experience. Like I said, this is my first time, and it's been awesome.
It's good people, good networking. You have to network, you have to be in the game to win the game, so you got to come.
Open exclusively to the industry, ESX offers educational sessions, networking events, and an expo that knows you're more than a badge scan. Find the latest technologies with access to partners ready to coach you through marketing, sales, installation training, merchandising, and more.
As the first timer to ESX, I think what I found to be, again, the most important was the intimacy. So for us, we were able to get a lot of take-home items, and we'll be able to do a lot of follow-up with our classmates that we got to sit with as well.
Sit shoulder to shoulder with other professionals ready to share best practices throughout seminars deemed as some of the strongest information exchanges in the industry. And launch networking groups as you mingle with peers in cocktail receptions, award ceremonies, and casual social events.
Keynote speakers are exceptional. You're going to leave inspired. You're going to leave with a lot of good ideas, and it's really up to you to just implement them. So I'd say you're missing out if you're not here next year.
It's time to rethink what an industry event should offer. Stop settling for shallow interactions that leave you lost in a crowd, and join a community of passionate security professionals ready to make a difference. This is ESX. Join us June 2nd through 6th in Indy, 2019.
We also talked about speakers. Every year we really pride ourselves on bringing some incredible speakers, and we're going to run another quick video just to show you what these people are about that are going to come speaking at our convention.
That third grade dropout, the wisest person I ever met in my life, who taught me to combine knowledge and wisdom to make an impact, was my father. A simple cook. Wisest man I ever met in my life. Just a simple cook. Left school in the third grade to help out on the family farm, but just because he left school doesn't mean his education stopped. Mark Twain once said, "I've never allowed my schooling to get in the way of my education." My father taught himself how to read, taught himself how to write, decided in the midst of Jim Crowism, as America was breathing the last gasp of the Civil War, my father decided he was going to stand and be a man. Not a black man, not a brown man, not a white man, but a man. He literally challenged himself to be the best that he could all the days of his life. I have 4 degrees. My brother is a judge. We're not the smartest ones in our family. It's a third grade dropout daddy. A third grade dropout daddy who was quoting Michelangelo, saying to us, "Boys, I won't have a problem if you aim high and miss. but I'm gonna have a real issue if you aim low and hit.
If you really want to know what a hero looks like, if you really want to know the things that a hero does consistently, without exception, every single day, if you want to know how a hero treats people, then you need only to look in the mirror.
So we believe we're going to have some really cool speakers, and we invite you to come out and see that. But one of the things that you might really like, we're going to do this when we get there. We're going to go to the racetrack, and those who are interested in going to the racetrack, I think it's 200, am I right? The first 200 people that register for this event will be able to jump into a pace car and run around the track at about 90, 100 miles an hour. That's like driving on the freeway in Orange County, California, so it's not that big of a deal, I guess. I'm not going to do any shaming today. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you guys in June. Make sure you register, and if you really want to go to Indy and have an experience at the racetrack, make sure you sign up right away. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Thank you, George. Thank you, Merlin. Thank you, ESA. ESA is a true partner of the California Alarm Association, and we appreciate you being here, Merlin. All the ideas. Merlin gave us a quick overview. I'm part of an EMP group at ESA where I have a peer group from around the nation of alarm company owners, and we talk every 6 weeks on the phone. Very, very valuable. Talk about best practices, but also about what didn't work too. So in addition, we have the mentor group that I think Brian mentioned earlier that Kathy and Brian and a few others in the room are part of. And the fellowship, the you know, standing around the different events and talking and just you're in a non-competitive environment. It's just a great place at ESX and all the ESA events. So thank you again, Merlin. Thank you again, George. WBFAA update, Ron Lander. Good morning, Ron. Could you give us an update, please?
Good morning to you. Okay, see you're still enthusiastic from those two videos that finally did work. I don't have a video that will or won't work, so I'm just going to give you some facts, tell you some news, and get out of here. Ron Lander, chairman of the WBFAA, the training arm of fire alarm certification. We had a meeting yesterday. We had a meeting 2 days ago, and have George Gunning, who is essentially the grandfather of WBFAA, is retiring from the board. And we have decided as a group to name a scholarship or a grant program in his behalf starting next year. That program will be effective for people who are transitioning out of the military or law enforcement, want to get involved in the industry, and also to help them pay for their books and help them pay for possibly a laptop if their needs are to that extent. So we don't have the mechanics of it yet. We just had the concept and the approval, and we're moving forward. And Frank, I'm sure you guys over there will be happy to hear that. And Mark, are you out there? Okay. We still have a robust group. We have 200 apprentices in 106 semesters throughout the country. Starting tomorrow, the state, starting tomorrow, they're going to be doing labs and seminars and tests. And we're going to start working on graduating a bunch. We just graduated a few 2 months ago. We have we're now involved as a sponsor for WBFAA and CAFA. We're a gold sponsor. We're proud of the fact that we're up on the board as a gold sponsor to help pay back the industry for the support we got, golly, 20 years ago. Lastly, now that George is retired and that Tom Rankin, a board member, is retired, we're looking for volunteers to help on the board. We do three face-to-face meetings and a couple conference calls a year. It's pretty easy, and if you're interested in it, you don't have to be a company that has members in our program, but if you're in the industry, if you're even interested, if you know somebody who wants to be on the board that fits our loose qualifications, let me know, let Shane Clary know, let Jerry know. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. I know Advanced Security Systems, our company uses that training. We have apprentices and journeymen signed up and doing a great job there at WBFA. Thanks for a good report, Ron. Next on the agenda is the ISE Expo. We have another great partner in Mary Beth Shaughnessy and Will Wise, and I call them up and ask for an ISE Expo report this morning. Good morning, Mary Beth.
So good morning, everyone, and thank you, Chuck, the board, CAA, Jerry, for having us here this week. As you know, we love to participate and join you at these events, and I'm happy to report that this year it's our 20th anniversary and working together. So thank you for your partnership and for your support. You know, it's really been a complete pleasure to work with you all. I would like to report that we have just renewed our agreement and our partnership for the next 3 years. So 2019 to 2021, we'll be continuing to support the CAA, and at ISC West, I hope you'll enjoy the association booth, the breakfast, the ISC SEA Love Security event that you all put on. You know, we could not put on our events without the support of everyone in the audience here, so thank you so much for that. One of the new initiatives that we are supporting this year that Dave Michael had mentioned is that we are going to be donating $5,000 a year to the Youth Scholarship Fund. So I think it's an amazing initiative that you all support, and we're happy to be able to participate in that in the next few years going forward. I'm now going to turn it over to Will Wise, our Group Vice President of our security events, who will tell you a little bit about ISC East that just took place, as well as some of the new initiatives we have coming up for ISC West 2019. Just so you know, I know some of you did participate, some of the manufacturers in the audience for ISC East, and we did struggle for a few years back about 4 or 5 years ago, but this year some of the comments that we heard was, it was the best ISC East in 20 years. It's an event not to be missed, and it was a highlight of the year. So again, for anybody who has supported us and stuck with us, you know, we really appreciate it. ISC East is kind of back to stay, and it's a great growing industry, and we couldn't do it without all of you. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Will Wise.
Thanks, Mary Beth. Yeah, the relationship with CAA has been terrific. I've been on the ISC team at Reed for a couple years now. I've just been so impressed with this relationship, the community, and with ISC we have really a big tent of a lot of association partners, amazing amount of media partners. It really takes a community to make it all work. Yeah, ISC East was a really great show. The teams worked really hard. The industry has worked hard. We're definitely on a strong growth path there again, which is terrific. This year at ISC East in Manhattan, we also, for the first time, co-located our Info Security North America event, which is all about cybersecurity, data security. Our UK office runs a very big info security event in London, so infusing that side of things was very positive this year as well. Obviously, for this group, CAA, ISC West is the big dance, and I think the Rock House Party has near legendary status now, so I've really enjoyed that the last couple years, and having that back and the breakfast, the lunches really do add a lot to the community feel of the event. There's so many subset activities going on at ISC West. This year, ISC West did hit record numbers, 30,000 attendees for the first time. We had 1,000 companies on the show floor. It was truly phenomenal. We've also been doing a lot of work to address growing segments in the industry that people need solutions on and education on. Examples of that is our Connected Security Pavilion, Connected Home Pavilion. Those doubled in size from the year before. And we also launched a new startup companies area. There's a lot of innovative companies with technologies from embedded systems all the way to the end product. So we had 40 startup companies in our emerging technology zone. Next year, we're expecting that to go to 60 or 70 startup companies. And we had teams, physical security teams like from Google saying, help me find the startups as well as the big companies. So a lot of different pieces of the puzzle that have been working well. Looking to 2019 ISC West, that week of April 9th, We're on pace to have to grow the show floor by another 10,000 square feet. So it's going to be another really big year. And the SIA education program is also going to have more sessions than ever. So again, partnerships are all really coming together. Relative to staying tuned with ISC West, we'll be going live with the attendee registration in the next 2 weeks. So stay tuned. You'll be seeing that. You've probably already seen save the date information. Lastly, Trent's comments I thought were really, really important about the concerns of hacking and cybersecurity related to physical security. We really have been paying attention to that from ISC as well. Our audience members have been showing demand for content and training about how to think about cyber related to physical security. So we've actually, in addition to having a lot of programs and education at ISC West on that, we have, along with SIA and the PSA network, we've launched another event called Cyber Secured Forum that is a more management level summit to talk about the issues of cybersecurity related to physical. We're doing Cyber Secured Forum this year at the end of July in Dallas, so stay tuned on that. Mary Beth or I can give you guys information if that's relevant to your business as well. It's going to bring together the manufacturers, the end users, and the integrators to really talk about that key topic. So we think that's going to be a big topic for this whole year. So overall, things are looking great. We're really excited about the support. It's been a great year, and 2019 is going to be even better.
So now we'd like to call up Lillian Chaumont so that we can present the youth scholarship check to you. So we're going to move right along. I'd like to just talk a little bit about Mission 500, which is an organization that ISC has supported for 10 years. And Jerry, I think we might have a little video, hopefully, fingers crossed, if we can put that on.
Test the video.
Oh, love it. So as you can see, this organization works with the IT and the security industry to help support and provide care packages and need to children living in severe poverty. I'm sure many in the audience have participated at ISC West in the Mission 500 Security Walk Run. have maybe run a base at one of our industry softball fundraising events, or even packed some care packages. Today, I'd like you to get involved. We've got a booth out in the back for Mission 500 where you can pack some hygiene kits. They are being donated to the Bay Area Mission, and they are going to help the families in transition in need from the fires. So if everybody could just take 5 or 10 minutes and pack a couple of care packages, we would really appreciate it. Tom and Linda Nolan are outside and can give you any information on becoming more involved, donating. It is an organization that is near and dear to the ISC heart and to us personally. And I hope that you can all become involved. So thank you so much. Thank you, Chuck. Thanks so much.
I feel like I'm overusing the word partner today, but I don't know how else to express what we have in the ISC and Mary Beth and Will. They're a great partner not only to the CAA, but to our industry. So another round of applause. They're putting over $25,000 into our coffers every year at the CAA. Thank you so much. Associate Director Report, Matt Kruger. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, everyone. Matt Kruger, the Associate Director for the association. It's basically the representative for the vendors on the board. And first of all, I would like to thank everyone for turning out today. It's really important that we're here. The vendors, we really appreciate it. It's what makes it worth us sponsoring the events, which is a huge part of holding the event. So, vendors, we need to continue our support. It's really how the entire CAA runs, is all these different people and partners that put this all together. So with that said, I would like to thank the sponsors by category, and if we can hold applause until I read everyone from each category. So I'm going to start with bronze, who donated $3,000. We have Annixter, Valley Alarm, UNV, Optex, Glassa, NABCO, Honeywell International, CAFA, and as I read your name, you guys can come up and get your recognition. So if there's a representative from each of the sponsors. Honeywell Fire Systems, MS&K, Security America, Qualsys, Bosch, and Reitman Consulting. And if we could all give the bronze sponsors a round of applause, please. All right. Moving on to the silver sponsors, that's $5,000 to the California Alarm Association. We have Interlogics, DMP, NMC, ADI, the WBFAA, AutoCall, Rapid Response, Tyco, Nortec, DSC, and USA Alarm Systems. If we could give them all a round of applause, please. So moving up to gold sponsorship, $7,500 sponsorship. We have Alarm.com, Digital Watchdog, and Ultronics. If we could please give a round of applause for our gold sponsors. One of the nice things this year is there are more people in the higher tiers than before, so it has actually netted out to about $25,000 more in sponsorship money for this winter convention. And with that, we have platinum sponsors with $10,000 sponsorship. First up is Bay Alarm. And then we have the Mid-Cal Alarm Association. Okay. And ISC. A new category this year, Platinum Plus, with $15,000, is Johnson Controls. And with the Diamond sponsorship, there's this new company I'm not sure you guys have all heard of. It's called Residio Technologies with a $25,000 sponsorship. Great. I appreciate you all being here again this morning and making sure that all the vendors see and get to talk to each and every one of the dealers. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. In Matt's position, he is responsible for helping Jerry and the SynCon group with all that you see around here. So thanks, Matt, for your contributions and for taking on that committee. And also to all the sponsors. We've said it 100 times, but I can't say it enough. We couldn't do this without you all, every single one. So thank you very much. We have a Mark Schubert Award that also goes out to our associates, and we are taking nominations for that award. We'll announce the finalists like we typically do in Las Vegas at the ISC show, and we'll have the award recognition in Palm Springs. Lillian, could you come up and give us a report this morning on our scholarship committee? Thank you.
So this is what happens when the industry comes together. And this is how we honor our firefighters and our law enforcement personnel who've been just a little bit busy these past couple of months. And they were very, very busy in my own neighborhood. It was very close with the Woolsey Canyon fire, so this is even more important. So thank you very much. So this year, I promised the board that I would try to be a little bit more enthusiastic about the scholarship program. And just want to let everyone know that we went live as of November 1st. So the online application platform is up and it is running, and we will be receiving our first status report from ESA today, actually. So I can't wait to check my email and see how we are doing application-wise. They have, ESA has worked extremely hard this past year in making a variety of technical upgrades to the application process that just occurs when you go to an online platform. So I'm really, really anxious and hopeful that we will have our application numbers way back up. We have also revised the scoring for our applicants, putting a greater emphasis on the written essay where the students talk about how their parents' public service has affected their character and their life values and their goals. So I hope to see all of you in Palm Springs as we present our 22nd scholarship award to a deserving high school student. See you there.
Thank you, Lillian, and thank you to the entire committee. That's a thankless job, but none more important to the CAA. To be able to walk into a police department or a fire department and talk about their kids, oh my gosh. It's a great door opener to any police and fire department. If you're not using it to walk in with those applications for those kids, I strongly urge you to. And when you see some of the recipients, oh my gosh, what was I doing in high school? It's hard to believe some of these kids today. All right, on our agenda, what is next is the election of a new slate of officers. So thank you much to Matt Westfall, Matt Hoffman, Bob Michael, the nominating committee. On your slate today for consideration is President Tim Westfall, Bay Alarm Company. Northern California Vice President Mike Salk, Reed Brothers Security. Southern California Vice President Mike Matson, Matson Alarm. Treasurer David Michael, Valley Alarm. Secretary Ron Jalippo from Smart Tech Security Solutions. And Sergeant of Arms Brian Boglin from Comcast. So at this time, I would like to also open to the floor any nominations from the floor. Did I say that right, Harvey? Any nominations from the floor? Seeing none, I would like to move for a vote. So I ask for a motion to accept, is that how I do that, Jerry? Accept the slate of officers as so approved for the ratification or the vote today for your 2019 officers. Thank you, Morgan. A second? Thank you very much, Chris. All in favor of electing this board as our newly elected board officers for 2019 and 20, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, congratulations to everyone. Congratulations and thank you. That's what it really is, a big thank you. Les?
As I see the new election, it just reminds me, I'm so delighted to see the two mics, because a few years ago, we had a convention, that we had a board meeting or a meeting in the island, the Catalina Island, and as part of the deal, we had a treasure hunt. And I guess they had an election, or maybe they pulled, and my luck, I was really elected to go with the two mics in golf carts. And then, of course, they gave you a series of clues, and we got to the first clue, or maybe it was the second clue, which unfortunately was a bar. We came in dead last.
Okay, thank you, Les. So if you've just been elected, could I get you to the stage also, please, for a picture? Mike, come on up. I would also like to call the local presidents and the committee chairs up the front at this time. So I say it's where the rubber meets the road, and that's being a president of a local association. And we have 11 chapters in the state of California, and we have most of them represented with their presidents today. So come on down. First, if we could get the picture for the newly elected slate of officers. Yep. You're good, Mark. I guess I'm still in there too. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry you didn't get a time. Thank you. Go ahead. Say whatever you want to say. Is that what it was, Jerry? Yep. You know, the people that you'll see on the stage right now are often very, very busy, probably the busiest in the room or the busiest in our industry. But when the phone rings or the email comes along to attend the committee meeting or to come to the convention or to attend the budget call, they are there. They are there every time. And it's often a thankless job. And so from the bottom of my heart, as your outgoing president, my father used to say, surround yourself with great people and watch what happens. So in this task, I've done just that. I've got some great folks. Your CAA has some great leadership going into the future. And I just want a big round of applause for the support they've given me and the support they've given you in the CAA for this last year.
Well, so on behalf of the new board, I look forward to working with all these great people, and we plan on continuing the great work that Chuck has done. But on behalf of the departing board, we would like to just recognize and thank Chuck. You know, he has done an incredible job the last couple of years. He's been really great to work with. He's an extremely humble leader, but he's got a great way of getting buy-in, and he has done an incredible job navigating the CAA, and we just hope to continue the course that he's charted. And although he'll be missed, I know he'll still be part of this board, and we'll look forward to continue to work with him for a couple more years.
I also wanted to take a minute and thank Chuck so much for your leadership. I think we've heard the cliche that wouldn't it be wonderful if nobody worried about who got the credit, how much we could actually accomplish. And I think you did that. You have been a very humble leader and somebody that I would always follow. And it's been a true pleasure serving with you, Chuck. And sometimes we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And I can tell you, this man has worked incredibly hard, day after day, week after week, in all the meetings, and truly it's been a pleasure. Congratulations for this great job, and the very best as you move forward in the future as well. Thank you.
And I just want to say, when Chuck was going to take this position, I met him in the hall, and he's like, you know, I think I'm going to do this. And I just want to say thanks, Chuck. You did a fantastic job. We couldn't have had a better person.
And then on behalf of the board and the CAA, this is the traditional passing of the gavel that we'll be giving Chuck as a recognition of his great work.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and very humbling. And just thank you to all the support that you've given me and shown me throughout the past couple of years. And you're right, Tim, you're not going to get rid of me that fast, but I think I will take a break and take a breath. Except I can't forget, I've got to get my credit card back. Just kidding, Stan. Okay, let's remember to fill a backpack for the Mission 500 right outside the door. We've got a small break and be back in this room for excuse me. Woohoo! One last note is Jerry's reminding me to get your tribute seat picked out for the dinner tonight. There's a sign up for it at registration. All right, be back in this room at 10:30. Thanks again, everyone. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? You'd think I'd get it right by now, huh? Thank you very much. Yep. And a second. Thank you.